So the first thing I have to ask you is, what is your full name? What was your given name?
Carolyn, Ann, Madeline.
Madeline.
It's my confirmation name. Bolling, Davis, Earnhart.
Good. And when were you born?
I was born April 1st, 1941.
In?
Mobile, Alabama.
All right. What were some of your first memories?
I don't really have many young memories. I guess it started at about maybe age 7. I can remember one time younger than that. Well, maybe 2 times. I remember one time, and we lived on Tuttle Avenue. I remember 556 Tuttle Avenue. I remember one time about a Christmas, and I came out of my bedroom, and the Mama and Daddy were just coming in from midnight mass, and I guess Milton, Frank, and when I came in, they gave me a doll that was, and I just remember that.
Was it Amy? Was it the little woman?
No, it was a baby doll. I remember that. And then another memory I have is one time Papa had some of his Mardi Gras men over. They were having a meeting. And I went in the room, and so he made me do the hoochie coochie dance.
Well, wait.
Show us that.
What is the hoochie coochie dance?
I was famous for the hoochie coochie. That's what he called it. And he kept saying, you know, you got to do the hoochie coochie dance. So anyway.
And so he was with what crew? What Mardi Gras crew was that?
Crew of Columbus. And our grandfather, his father was one of the people that started that group. And then Papa was in it. And Papa was the treasurer for 15 years, I know. Okay. And I was the queen of it in 1959.
Okay. And then later on, you were queen again, weren't you?
No, they just had the old queens come out.
The old queens came out, and we were there.
You were there. I know. We had a good time.
It was fun. You know, Kaka was a beautiful Mardi Gras queen.
An old queen.
Well, what was so funny about that, and I don't know if you
Go ahead.
coming out with that was, 1959. I was only 18, and so when we went back for the queens coming out, well, all of them before me were. The ones that came out before me were there, and they looked nice and young. But then I came out. Remember, I had on a black sexy dress with black, and I looked. And then these 3 women behind me looked like
they were 100.
and 100, and I'm going, oh my god!
But you look good. We were cheering loud.
You're the best old queen.
You were the best old queen we ever had.
That was funny. Right behind me, Anyway. But my memories growing up, I guess my best memories were being over the bay. And we used to rent a house at Battles Wharf, a big old Civil War house. And we had to rent it, Papa had to rent it by the year. And it was $365 a year. And it was full of iron beds, no insulation, because it was there in the Civil War, and the downstairs used to be where the horses were. And I learned all this from the man we rented from, Pop Woods. And then the upstairs was where people stayed. And that was really my best memories. And then we knew other families that lived along there, and we all shared one pier and went out. Nanny was known as the crab lady because she was always crabbing. And it was just a lot of fun. And then it was right on a creek that went into the bay. Sweetwater Branch was called. And I can remember playing down there all the time. And there were guineas that roamed because they're supposed to be the best watchdogs. And he had guineas, and they'd be in the trees. And
Guineas?
Guinea hens.
Guinea hens.
Yeah, guinea.
Not a guinea pig.
Okay.
Not a guinea pig.
Yeah. Guinea? All right.
Was it a small house or a big house?
Yeah.
It was a gigantic house, 2
I've never
story.
heard of this.
Oh, yeah, you have.
Papa and Nanny rented the house with the Mungies.
Mm-hmm.
And Billy Mungie was always there, and the Mungies, and we just had some good times there. Uncle Bill Taylor would come over and Aunt Helen, and Uncle Bill was always playing jokes. He put snakes in people's, artificial snakes in people's bed, short sheet, and you'd hear everybody yelling when you're going to bed. But one of my fondest memories of that, and I always loved it, the adults, they'd have a bunch of friends over, adults, and the dining room was, I don't know how long. I mean, it went from here to that other wall, and they had a table in there 3 times longer than this, and the adults would throw out newspaper and have crabs that they'd caught, and they'd sit there and pick crabs and eat and drink beer and laugh, and of course the kids, we'd be looking, they wouldn't let us be in there, and we'd be out. But that was a fond memory of that. We rented that house. I really don't remember how long, but I'd have friends over, and we would go on the holidays. And I learned to drive. There was a big circular drive, and they'd let me drive around.
Practice driving.
How old were you?
I guess 14 or 15.
Oh, okay.
Where Uncle Milton,
No.
Frank, they weren't around anymore.
They weren't around.
So
Uncle Mel and Uncle Frank weren't around anymore.
But I remember going there as a really little kid.
You do?
Yeah, we have some home movies of that, of us being over there.
You do?
On the
Yes,
wharf.
old home movies
Mom
on the
and Dad.
wharf
Yeah.
with Mom and Dad, and there's Papa and Nanny, and
And Miss Mummy too,
the
and Mr.
Mummies.
Mummy, when we were really little.
yeah.
It was really, really
Big
fun
old-
So,
time.
so they rented the house for the whole year, so y'all could use it any time during the year?
It was $1 a day.
Oh my
to rent
gosh.
I don't know why I remember that so
Okay,
well.
so now at that time, did you drive over the bay on the causeway? Was the causeway there, or did you have to take the
No,
ferry over?
no, I never took the ferry. That was real, I don't know, the causeway was always there.
Okay.
But I know the tunnel, Bankhead Tunnel was built in 1941 because Nanny always said she walked through there and she was pregnant with me.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if the causeway must have been finished about the same time. I really don't know, but I know Bankhead Tunnel was.
Okay, and then I know from a picture of my dad and mom that you were in their wedding.
I was in their wedding, and I sort of remember that. I don't really remember it really.
You were like the flower girl or something like
Yes,
that.
right.
Junior bridesmaid.
Yeah. They always treated me real special. They took me everywhere with them on trips, and they were just always good to me, treated me real special.
Okay, so you went to school where?
I went to school at St. Mary's Catholic School, which was on the other side of town from where we live.
Is it the same place where it is now? Okay.
And where we live behind Ladd Stadium. So
How'd you
I went to Sagat, Nanny took me.
Was she working at that time? Was
No.
she a nurse?
She didn't nurse. And she took me and picked me up, and then some days she'd bring me lunch. Can you think, I was spoiled. At lunch. I'd go out and there'd be mashed potatoes and whatever. I'd run out, eat my lunch, and go back in.
Oh.
And then I went to Bishop Tulin, which was across the street,
All girls Catholic school.
all girls Catholic school, and I loved that. That was just so great, being in an all girls Catholic school. And
Did you ever think about becoming a nun?
yes, I wanted to become a nun. But then when I turned 16, Papa bought a car for me. It was an old Plymouth, a gray old Plymouth.
I remember
with
that.
the big, that was kind, it was a lot, I don't know what year it was, but it had a big
I
old
love that car.
round
It was
top.
like being in a mountain.
Yeah. And so Nanny didn't have to take me to school anymore. But there is a funny story I just thought of that. When Nanny used to take me to school, and I'd be putting my makeup on and all, whatever makeup we wore, which we'd curl our eyelashes, and one time she went over a bump and pulled all my eyelashes, I swear, all my eyelashes out of one of my eyes.
She used to make all your plates and stuff for you too.
Nanny made all my clothes. We would go downtown and look at Kaiser's, which was a nice really store. And she'd take out her prayer book of all things, and she'd draw whatever one I liked in the window.
Oh,
And
really?
made my clothes. She made all my. I was in a sorority, a high school sorority, and we had dances, big ball dances with big gorgeous dresses. And she made all those. I mean, it'd be just tons of ruffles all the way down because we wore big with hoop skirts and she made yeah, she did. She made everything. So, what else?
So tell me a little bit about Nanny and Papa, your mom and dad.
Well, they were always. Papa was real subdued and sweet, and Nanny was always the one that cooked and. She did everything. She was my Girl Scout leader, and she was the oldest mother because she had me when she was 32 or 33, I'm not sure, but she was everything. The Girl Scout leader, and she room mother, she did everything. And Papa was just real quiet and subdued, but he did hit me one time.
Did you deserve it?
Yes, we were at the kitchen table, if you remember the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
And I was sassing Nanny, I don't even remember why, and he reached across the table and popped me.
Ooh.
That's the only time he ever raised her.
Wow.
And Nanny was the one that did all the correcting, not that I needed it. And then my bedroom, Nanny had all antique furniture, but she let me, for some reason, pick out furniture I wanted from redid my room. And I wanted that blonde furniture like your mother had.
Yes. That kind of grayish.
That
yeah.
blondie gray.
Yeah.
I can't believe
Modern,
she
yeah.
do that. She let me do that. And I had a bookcase bed, and the headboard was bookcase, and the dresser. And then she made drapes for me, and it was all lavender and green, and it was really cute, all flowered, big drapes, but
All your stuffed animals all over the
all
bed.
my stuffed animals, yes.
So when did you spend time with Papa? I mean, how would,
I guess
Okay, so the question is, when did you spend time with Papa?
I really don't.
Oh, I know, I'm sorry.
I wasn't that close to Papa, if you really want to know the truth. I mean, he was always there, but you never really had much conversation with him or whatever. He would want me to sit in his lap, and I'd do that, but I don't really remember. Everything was with Nanny. She was the one that more or less ruled everything. And then another thing, we only had one bathroom.
Right, it was only a two-bedroom house, right?
2-bedroom, but they added on that room in the back, and that's where the Milton Frank stayed. They had twin beds back there. But anyway, we had one bathroom, and the hall went into the bathroom, and when Papa went in there, nobody bothered him. We'd all have to get ready in the mornings. And she always had a pot out in the hall. If anybody had to go to the bathroom, y'all probably went on
Yeah,
it.
that little enamel pot, that white, yeah.
And I can remember peeping in
More than the toilet.
Yeah, me too.
peeping in the keyhole to see what he was doing. He in there hour.
Who's getting away?
She'd always say, he needs his time.
But he was a real neat man. You open his drawer and everything was just so. I remember that.
That's where Daddy goes.
Yeah.
And so, and he would go to work down in downtown Mobile.
Mobile, he ran Bolling Insurance Agency, which he inherited from his father,
Who was Milton Joseph Bolling the first.
the first, yes.
Okay. And what do you remember about him?
I didn't know him. He died before. He died in his 50s, I think, but I didn't know him. I only remember his wife, Minnie Bolling.
Who we called Grandma Bolling.
We called Grandma Bolling, and she really wasn't very affectionate and didn't have much to do with us. She was too busy living her life, and I can tell you some stories that I remember about that, following her around town.
Yeah.
And she was sort of a floozy type. That's probably not the right word, but she died in her 80s, I think. But they always said she killed Grandpa.
Because why?
Of the way she was.
She was just so energetic and
No, and
Stress?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it's like
really don't.
stress.
They always said that she killed him because he was such a sweet. He was a very prim and proper man, and she wasn't so. I'm just saying all this because of what I heard.
Was
Family say.
was she a Yankee?
She was a Yankee from Pittsburgh, and he went up there on some kind of convention and met her and married and brought her back. And then his sister, the one that I really loved,
Aunt Jen.
Aunt Jen, Bolling, Towie, very prim and proper. She lived in a big house on Dolphin Street and just very, very prim and proper. And I guess that just killed the family. From what I understand, when he brought, and she was a little short, fat thing.
And she wasn't she a hoochie coochie dancer? That's what I always said. She said she was.
Maybe she was.
That's what Nanny said.
That's where you learn your hoo-hoo.
That was
There's a hoochie coochie dancer.
okay. So let's see. So that was your grandmother and your grandfather, and then on your dad's side, and then.
I didn't know any of Nanny's.
Okay, but just sticking with that though,
Oh.
then there was Papa, your dad, was Papa, and then he had a brother,
Uncle Jack,
Uncle Jack.
Jack Bolling, who I didn't know very well.
Okay, and then they had a sister, right?
Aunt Bill.
Right.
Y'all know you and Bill.
Mm-hmm. So did y'all do anything
We
with
used to
them?
do always with Aunt Bill, and her husband was Hart. We called him Uncle Hart. And we always got together with them for occasions. They lived just around the corner. And for Christmas, and Aunt Bill played the piano by heart, and we'd go around there and sing and carry on. And then at New Year's Eve, we'd go around there and shoot fireworks and all that. So I remember those two occasions, but we were down around there a lot with Aunt Bill.
So
And her husband, Uncle Hart, he died when he was only 50.
Gosh, you seem so much older.
now when I remember going to Aunt Belle's house, and her playing piano. Now, did Papa ever sing or play music or anything like that, or does she remember?
No, but Nanny said he did. When she met him, he sang with some little group, she said. I don't know.
I remember her telling me that.
I really don't know about that. And then they had, Pat Ludlow was my cousin, and Hartwell Jr. was, the Ludlows.
Okay.
And we were real close. The families were real close to them. Aunt Belle I liked Aunt Belle. She was really sweet. She always gave us socks for Christmas.
Yeah.
She gave us socks for Christmas too.
Underwear for the girls.
That's right.
And I remember Cary got some to color your pants with.
And do you remember her Christmas tree? Oh, we thought it was awful. It was one of those silver trees when
Oh,
they
the
first
aluminum
came
trees.
out.
Yeah,
I like those.
And now I like them. And she
Yeah.
had blue balls.
Oh, right.
And blue lights.
Don't you remember her remote control?
Remote control TV was
Yeah,
the first
she'd
one.
sit in there and play.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I remember,
When you clicked the.
I had to get out of the way, and it was a knob, and it only had 3 sessions, and it would go.
the thing I remember, she always had like a little candy bowl on the coffee
That's
table, I
right.
think, with
Right.
peppermints.
Yeah, for us, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think I really had a wonderful childhood. Very normal, what I would consider normal. Nobody, I never saw Papa and Nanny fight at all, or raise
Yeah.
their voices. So,
And then, okay, so getting back to your grandfather and his sister, Aunt Jen. Was there any other kids there with your grandfather besides Aunt? So there was Aunt Jen, your grandfather. They were
There was
brother
a-
and sister.
and there was an older brother, and I really didn't know him, and I don't remember his name.
Okay.
Do you remember his name? Mm-mm. There was a,
But we have it written down somewhere.
yes, we have it written
We
down,
know.
but I didn't know him at all. Aunt Jen, we were close to. Nanny brought the family sort of with Aunt Jen because the family, she was sort of ostracized from the family, not because anybody wanted it that way, but Nanny brought the family together. And I would stay with Aunt Jen quite often. When Nanny and Papa would go out of town or anything, I'd go stay with Aunt Jen. And she always seemed to care for me. She, gave me when I graduated from high school, a party, and I always said I wanted to get married in her house because she had with the big staircase and but she was really a little spicy, but real prim and proper, real prim and proper.
And she married a Towie, and she had how many kids? Who were
She
her-
married John Towie, who was extremely handsome man, and they had 3 kids.
Right.
John Jr., Jimmy, and Tom. Tommy was second, and then Jimmy. Jimmy? No,
Yeah,
John.
Tommy was the baby.
No, Jimmy was the oldest.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and then Tom, and then John.
Okay. John Jr., okay.
And Jimmy was close to the family too. He was a banker. He married
Yeah,
Betty,
yeah.
and they never had children.
Right, and they were really sweet.
Yeah. And then Tommy, Tommy married a Yankee, and that was never. Sorry, Ann. You weren't. St. Louis people aren't considered Yankees.
Midwestern.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are.
But anyway,
Consider St. Louis the South.
So,
Aunt Jen never warmed up to her.
Right.
But then John, the youngest, who looked just like his daddy, married Tay Duffy, who was a Mobile girl, the Duffys. And they had 4 children, I think.
yeah. Okay, so now what are your earliest memories of my dad, Milt Bolling, and his brother, Uncle Frank, our Uncle Frank?
Oh, I remember them.
I mean, because you were born somewhat after them, because
They're 12, about 11 to 12 years older than me. And especially your daddy spoiled me. Frank really, he was sweet to me, but your daddy loved to play with me, Milt, and do things with me. And when he could drive, he would let me go with him, and then I'd pretend like I was driving, and then he'd put the gas on fast and put the brakes and all that.
Sounds like Dad.
And I can just remember Frank and Milt when they were younger. I don't know why I remember this. I can remember them tussling in their room, just carrying on. They were probably just playing. I don't know, but I remember getting real upset, and going back and trying to separate them. But really, that's one of the only memories I have of them. I mean, I remember them playing in the backyard in high school with other guys, and I remember Nanny one time making your daddy Milt did something awful or mean or something, and she made him come in and pull down his pants and lay across the bed, and she took a hairbrush and was spanking him, and he was just dying laughing. Because I remember standing at the bedroom door going, all astounding, and he was just laughing, and the harder she hit, the more he laughed. And he was skinny, tall and skinny.
And were you a teenager then or something?
And Frank, Frank was always sort of chunky
and smaller, yeah.
and smaller.
Yeah.
And but I remember their friends coming, all those guys. That seemed like everybody was at our house. All their friends coming over, and and I'd always tell knock jokes.
Okay, I hear a knock joke. Do you remember
Yeah,
anything
what were
you told?
some of your jokes?
I can't remember. I remember the one that Nanny got.
All right, sorry, Mac.
I remember the one Nanny got mad at me. But anyway, all the girls, would just think I was so cute, and they'd have to give me a lot of attention. But the knock joke that Nanny got mad at me because something about what did the black woman's milk or something in it was something about chocolate milk.
Oh.
And Nanny was so furious at me telling that joke because it was very embarrassing. But I don't remember any, but I knew them all.
So they bring their girlfriends too?
Oh, their girlfriend, they were always there.
They
Yeah.
must have
The
seemed like
hangout
big
house.
adults to you almost because they were so much older than you. Must
It
have
was
been
fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun because they'd always be there. And oh yeah, and then I remember going to the game. We always in high school went to the basketball games.
Yeah, because Dad and Uncle Frank both
Yeah,
played basketball.
and I'd be up there. I was terrible. I'd be up there screaming, "You referee!" and screaming. I was only 10 years old or 9, and I was awful. I can remember being awful, thinking I was awful, but I still did it.
What did Nanny and Papa do at the games?
Just sit there and watch. You know, Papa probably said things, but I don't remember. And I think Nanny would tell me to calm down.
Where did you learn that stuff? Like, where did you learn to sing?
I just hear somebody else. I don't know. I was sort of wild.